course, as a part of being human, we often just feel confused and misunderstood. And we just want to untangle the mess that's often in our minds. And so what I do is I help people to quiet the noise and to work through messy feelings and really to make peace with their past. And so I just want to welcome all of you here today and just let you know what an honor it is to be here. But I'm really excited about having Elise, who is a dear friend and a client who also works with me.
Rita, thank you. Rita, as she has told many of us many times, that every relationship is a reflection of the relationship we have with ourselves, is something that every time I hear it, it's every time I repeat it, it is something that very much rings true. Rita is always coming back to that idea that I don't have the relationship that I desire with myself. And so again, initially what brought me through the front door was this idea that if I just cleaved relationships, or I don't know, manipulated relationships and offered it in a certain size, or that I can have what I want if only I'm doing everything right and cleaving the right relationships. And in my case, a lot of this energy was directed in a particular relationship. And I just thought, oh, well, this is easy. If I just end it, I don't know. I will have whatever it is that is unsettled. And a big part of what brought me in to see Rita initially was that I didn't have the relationship I wanted with anyone in my life, and most certainly myself. But something you've also said, that, comfort isn't synonymous with happy. And I think many of us sense comfort, but it may not be bringing us the joy that we want within those relationships. And I think for me, that was, again, I just thought, oh, if this is comfortable, and if I avoid these conversations and these topics and cleave that, I'll be fine.
But I love your awareness that you're claiming and leaning into. Wait a minute, avoiding this restlessness of, just wanting to cleave or cut off relationships with others. All that does is it makes our world smaller and smaller. Like, I'm not going to go to a place of trigger, because if I get triggered, then that's not, the judgment is that's not good. So we end up with all these walls around us. And then we are often connected with loneliness. We're disconnected from ourselves, knowing that whenever we're triggered, it's showing us what is up for us to heal. Even if the other person's being a complete and total asshole, it still doesn't let us off the hook. Because if you see that somebody's hurt and wounded and acting that way, you won't necessarily be triggered. But when we are triggered, there's that something is up for us to heal, always.
I'd had your information for probably the better part of a year before it was time to connect. And I think timing was a big part of this as well. It had gotten to a point where, as you've said, my pain was greater than my fear. It was easier to hold the illusion in my mind that there was a quick fix, that I could read one more book or talk to one more patient, or the idea that it wasn't going to be this fucking hard.
In truth, doing your work isn't hard. The hard part about it is our charged emotions, our resistance, our attachment to our stories, our avoidance, and our ignorance. We simply don't know that we don't know. And it's really hard until it's not, right?
Yeah.
When you lean into it, because doing this work is almost like learning a new language. It is really awkward because we don't know the patterns we're playing out in the misunderstandings that we have about ourselves and about others. And that's so innocent, and yet it keeps us stuck because we like our normal. If
Mhm.
we are in a place of disconnect, we will do whatever we can to stay in disconnect because that's our comfort zone. And if we're in a place of connection, we're going to do anything we can to keep us connected. And for those deep, deep issues that we honestly, innocently can't see, even for myself in my past, I still have a go-to person and an intuitive guide who helps me to connect and to recharge at times, because who wants to do it alone? Like, I don't want to wait another decade. And a part of my desire to really lean in and do this work is when I found energy work, I was finally home. This
Mhm.
is the one thing that made sense. I could see energy patterns. I could see how people were acting and why. I could finally understand it wasn't personal, and that my job was to keep my heart open no matter what was in or who was before me. And that was life altering.
You always lead with, "Let's get to the truth faster." And you remind me, like, "Elise, that's not true."
In doing work with me, it's never about me telling you, Elise, this is your truth. This is what you need to do. It's about handing to you truth, naming what's not true, and then you decide for yourself. If you're doing something and you like it, keep it. Like, I'm cheering you on. And if you don't, then what are you going to do about it? And here, let's look at the options and let's see how you got here.
It's almost, and I've had this thought so many times with you. She knew something before I knew it. And it's just like she said that before I was ready to say it. And 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 it becomes, okay, Rita knew this before I knew this. And I haven't had that experience before. And I think too, it's the experience of sitting in your space.
Mm.
Like, you have to sit with it. And you just remind me, like, you're paying to be here. Sit with it. Sit with it. Make it uncomfortable. Because at no other point in my day do I just sit in it. I don't make the time to just sit in it.
So within this work, it's not only about knowing better is doing better, it's really about shifting the energies or the consciousness so you can have a new experience of yourself without the BS.
Yeah.
And I love that. So
Yeah.
working on multiple levels, mentally, emotionally, physically, and again, it's a come as you are party. I'm not qualified to judge you or anyone else. I'm just here to love you exactly where you are, as you are. And you're so easy to love, Elise. Like, I just appreciate you.
And I you. Thank you.
Yeah.